Hey guys, good morning, good morning. How are you doing? Now, there are a couple of things going on in East Africa, my motherland. Well, the motherland is Africa, but East Africa is my home base. That I felt that maybe I can address and share some light, you know, and share my opinion about what's going on, give insight to the Kenrald Experience funds and you know the people that are with me on this journey of enlightening Africa, of awakening Africa out of apeness. Now, to bring it all together full circle, I felt like the topic for this talk should be uh, rights for the responsible. Rights for the responsible. What does this mean? That there's a saying in the Bible. There's a verse in the Bible where someone asked, "How can we be great? How can we be great? How can I be great? How can I attain, great riches, great respect, great health? You know, all these human desires. How can I be great?" And the biblical answer was, find a way to serve the many. Very simple. Find a way to serve the many. Now, in East Africa, there's this truck driver crisis. Most of the East African countries locked down, and the numbers totally reduced, except for one group of people, the truck drivers. COVID was almost, the spread was almost curbed completely in the East African region, except amongst one group of people, the cross border truck drivers. And these truck drivers have now become the biggest regional problem. The heads of states are on the phones making calls, you know, trying to figure out this, trying to figure out that, tensions between His Excellency President Magufuli of Tanzania and His Excellency President Uhuru of Kenya. You know, it's a crisis. These guys have reached levels of threatening to, excuse me, threatening to completely, shut down their borders. The first thing is we're talking about the East African community and uniting. And you people can't figure out how to have the truck drivers moving and still contain the disease. Don't you have domestic truck driving? Don't you have food supplies from markets here and there happening domestically? Now, if you can handle that, then why can't we handle it regionally? There is no problem whatsoever with the truck drivers. There's completely no problem with the truck drivers. Anyone you see blaming truck drivers is not a good thinker. You're looking outwards again. You're not looking inwards, no? Because the truck driving problem is a failure of the state and the failure of the individual to formulate a good way to curb further spreads from the truck drivers. Now, let's get deeper into this. For instance, why is there very urgent need for these truck drivers to keep moving? Why can't we stop truck drivers and put them in the lockdown just like you've done to every other person and every other business? Because it's suicide. That's what the leaders say. It's economic suicide. What are the leaders telling you when they say that when you stop exports, I mean importation, you're committing economic suicide? And actually even exports. Since when is your home dependent on another man to provide? When did we lose the self-reliance? How did we lose the self-reliance? This is the question to ask. And the question to ask is this capitalism really better than the subsistence that we had in Africa? We are now in a dire state. We are in a very complicated position where people are starving in their houses. They have no food because Africans have not been planting. Now, any half-sane individual has asked themselves this question. It's a self-interest question. What does it take to survive? What does it take to survive? And then after that question, the next question is, what does it take to succeed? When God created the earth, I've been preaching this in the last 5 videos, and I think I'll keep preaching it because it's so important. When God created the world, He didn't create safety. He didn't create us to be safe. He created us to be strong. That's why He created the devil. Have you ever asked yourself that, why did God create the devil? And try to find the answer? Because God created the devil. And why did God let evil exist? It wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate. Because evil is necessary to attain the ultimate good. Now, in reference to what we're talking about, God didn't design life, or life wasn't designed to give you what you need. You don't get what you need. Life was designed to give you what you deserve. You get what you deserve. So why are we locked down in our houses, starving to death? Why are we in a situation where our country would be free if we didn't import COVID? Because that's what we are doing. That's what we're doing. We are contain the numbers. The only people bringing in COVID are the importers, the goods coming in that we seem to not be able to do without. Because if we do without, we'll be committing suicide, like your leaders have told you. But your leaders are yourselves, like you have told yourself. So every single COVID death that is coming to East Africa is a death that we deserve. Because we have forgotten the law of deserving, the law I just described. We have forgotten that the world only gives you what you deserve. If East Africa had really thought about proper economics of self-reliance at the individual level, not at the country level, because that's also dependency. That's the same virus that puts us in this situation. If East Africa had thought about self-reliance at the individual level, if you, as you, had your food and you could stay alive, deserve to live, deserve to succeed for years on end, or for at least a year, without having to depend on anyone else, which by the way existed with our forefathers in a system that has been demonized called subsistence, which is the first principle of the SAR mentality I promote in the Kenrald Experience. If we were subsistent and so self-reliant at the individual level, then we wouldn't be in this situation, because it would have been obvious to lock your house door. If you know that there's a lion out there killing people in the village, what do? You enter your house, close the door, and figure out a way to come out and kill the lion. In East Africa today, there's a lion in the woods. COVID-19. But East Africa has not built a house. So you can't shut the door, because you have not built the house. And so you're in danger and you're going to get eaten up unless you wake up now and start building the house before the lion catches up with you. But because of your mistake, some people are going to have to be eaten by the lion, and most especially the ones that are late. The people who have been following the Kenrald model, or at least who read the Kenrald model book, and the first adapters of the Kenrald Experience have understood one thing. Because the first words I said about this was that this was a storm. And this is a secret message from God. This is how God told Noah to go and build the ark. Now, Western narrative that is confusing many Africans is telling you to lock yourselves in the cave and throw away the keys. Since when does an African contend with evil by hiding in the house? Since when do you put food on the table by staying at home? We don't contend with the COVID crisis by sitting at home and hiding and waiting for the colonialists to come back with funny vaccinations to put in our blood to save us, whether it's good or not good, because it's most likely not good, because handouts are never good anyway. East Africa and Africa in general has to stop begging for fish and learn how to fish. Unless Africa learns how to fish, we are always going to be despised and underlooked by all the other people of the earth. Because it's true, we are the richest people on earth. But how comes we are so, you know, how comes we are the biggest beggars? It's foolish. It's laughable. The truck driver crisis in East Africa has not been caused by the truck drivers, and we need to stop demonizing these people. It has been caused by us, the individuals, for failing to be self-reliant. If we were self-reliant, we would have told the truck drivers to stay put, stay home. Let everybody stay home. We're going to fend for each other. I mean, for self. We're going to be self-reliant for a year. Social distance. Wash our hands. And get on with figuring out the what? The cure for this enemy. But instead of us focusing on the cure, the politicians are pocketing billions and billions of more aid, knowing very well that we are trying to fight aid. They are talking about improving cities with money that has been sent for aid. And it's nonsense. It's insanity. It's madness. There is really no need even for a lockdown, which is actually the second point I wanted to talk about. Why are we prolonging this lockdown further? That's the other insane thing. What are we waiting for? For Europe? For America? Africa, wake up. Wake up, Africa. Are you babies? Are you infants? How this is stupid. How shallow-minded are you? When will you see? When will you wake up? You're locking yourselves in the house, waiting for Europe. Why can't we be out there in the fields finding the cure? I want to find the cure. Yeah, as the individual, I want to find the cure. You should want to find the cure. Why should that glory not be an African glory? Now, again, the only comeback that you will have is, oh, we all can't get out there because it will spread faster. Let it spread. Because when it spreads, we all get samples. We all get samples to work with. We all get samples to use to find the cure. Using our African medicine, African herbs, we all test out. We can't face evil by being cowards. Because even if we shut ourselves in the houses, we've shut ourselves in the houses right now for coming to 3 months. The numbers have only tripled. The deaths are just about to triple. We've donated money in solidarity funds. We've given our whole hearts out. We've borrowed money. And grants and aids have come in. Aid has come in, sorry. And we've done nothing. And instead, it's like as if the aid is coming in. The more aid we receive, the more tighter the doors become with this stupid lockdown. Now, let me help you understand what the lockdown does. And this is why I tell you that this whole crisis is a power play. It's about power. Because you're losing your civil liberties. And this is very important why I don't say rights. People always cry, my rights are being abused, our rights are being abused. Like right now you're starving to death and, the politicians are saying, no, stay home, lockdown, stay home, and giving you funny food, expired food, and other toxic, things that you're eating, food that it's aid. What is the lockdown doing? Once the lockdown is imposed, they deny you the power to put food on the table for your family. As a man or as a woman. When they deny you the power to put food on the table, power to provide, power to even run a business, but all that is down to putting food on the table, providing, because that's the real basic reason why you want to get out of the house anyway. When they deny you the power to put food on the table, they deny you duty. And they deny you responsibility. Now, the Kenrald Experience followers know that I've told you over and over again that we shouldn't be having human rights advocates. We should be having human responsibility advocates. Because chasing human rights is forgetting what makes you deserve these rights. Rights are secondary. What is primary is responsibility. Rights are the fuel for responsibility. That because you're responsible, we shall protect you with rights. It's not the other way around that you're useless and you have rights and then maybe we can teach you responsibility. No. Rights are nested on responsibility. Even for an infant, a baby, new life, they have the right because of the responsibility that they have as the future. That's why you see we protect the mothers and the babies in war first. Because this is the continuity of the future. They get that right of being protected first. Because without them, there's no future. Without women, there's no future. Without babies, there's no future. So by denying you ability to put food on the table, they deny you duty and responsibility. So you become useless. And that's why you see, obviously, domestic violence has gone up. Because men have no answers for their family. So they have become useless. So this authoritarian drama and crisis that you see, the anxiety and the war that you're seeing out there that's about to erupt, the chaos that I'm warning you is about to erupt, is already evident at the family level. Because once a man can't put food on the table, then you lose your right to be the head of the family, obviously. And so you're despised. And once you're despised, of course, you become angry, because once a man is put in a situation where they can't help their position, they are left with one thing. It's a new enemy: anger and violence. Malevolence. Malevolence, the jealous, comes from a man being put in a box and is exploding, can't do anything about it. And when you explode, when you detonate a bomb, of course, the nearest people suffer the most, and that's the family. That's why you see the domestic cases are going up. So when they deny you responsibility, they deny you virtue. You have no virtues. And a man without virtue is a man that is not sovereign. So you stop being a sovereign individual. You become a useless person. You are like a goat. You're like a sheep. Flock. You're in the house, locked down, your flock. You're like a farm animal. You're waiting for, in the morning for the master to come and open the door, take you to graze, and then bring you back in the evening, lock you down in the house. You're useless. So the more you accept this stupid lockdown, the more you are a cow. Now, once you're a cow, you don't deserve rights. You're just waiting to be eaten. This is how the cycle of responsibility to rights goes. Deny them duty, deny them responsibility, then they are not virtuous. And so they can't be sovereign, because they're useless. And anything that is useless can't deserve rights. And of course, if you don't have rights, you don't have power. I've told you, you're like a domestic animal. So what is happening is domestication of Africa, constant domestication of Africa. This lockdown is domesticating Africa. You've become domestic animals with no rights, with no responsibility, with no, just useless, a burden. And that's going to justify them sending you funny vaccines. I hope they're intended to save the flock, because maybe for some reason they'll think they need you. But, you're useless, so I don't think they need you. So which takes us to the first question. What does it take to survive? Why do you deserve to live? You deserve to live because you are responsible. This is the oldest trick in the African culture. It's the oldest book. When a man is young, what did they teach us as young boys in Africa? They taught us that even if you have no job, wake up in the morning and leave the house. Just go to the city, hang with other men and figure it out. But don't stay in the house. Because there's nothing as bad as a man staying in the house and not providing. We all know this in Africa. You get out there. And as you come home, climb a tree, pick a mango and bring it back home. That as you return from the city, pass by the butcher and borrow a kilo of meat. Take it to the wife and the children. And that makes a responsible father that deserves rights and respect. There's an interesting they say reaping. It's an interesting saying. They say reaping is reserved for the sower, or the harvest is reserved for the planter. Elon Musk said on the Joe Rogan Experience, the podcast during his interview, a saying that I've promoted a lot, and I was very impressed to know that even the world's biggest thinker thinks the way I try to tell people to think. He said, "If you don't make stuff, there is no stuff." This is very this is the same thing that this statement makes. You don't reap harvest because you need food. You reap harvest because you planted it. We are not going to get the COVID cure because we need it. We're going to get the COVID cure because we went out there and did the research to get it. And it's no joke. So the worst thing we can do as Africa is lock ourselves in the house. Because it's stupid. We're going to just starve in the houses. It's just common sense. Stupid. What, you're going to stay in the house forever? What, you're going to close the borders forever? Going back to the truck driving problem? We need to get out there, and we need to start now thinking about the future. We need to start thinking about why we deserve to be in the new world, because it's the new world order, it's here. Why should they let you be part of the new world order? As an individual, why should they let you inside heaven? Into heaven? No one wants a lazy bone in heaven. No one wants a domesticated animal in heaven. Unless they are going to heaven as food, as slaves. The question is, Africa, do you want to go into the new world order as slaves? Or do you want to go as sovereign individuals? With a voice, with an opinion, with power, with responsibility. Apeness and colonialism, the colonized mind, has fooled you into selling all your land, selling all your resources at a stupid price because you don't have your own money. Educating your future with stupidity, because there is nothing in the education system in Africa. That's why you're hiding in houses instead of figuring out the COVID cure. If you had real true doctors and scientists, they would be out there bringing the cure. You wouldn't be closing doors, locking people in caves. Good teachers, because teachers would have taught people responsibility over rights. We should have human responsibility advocacy, human responsibility campaigns. You should be fighting for your responsibility, your right to produce, your right to provide for your children. In fact, not your right, but your responsibility to provide for your children. What you should fight for is your responsibility too. Fight for your responsibility, not for your rights. Because you only get rights are only deserved by people who have responsibility. So, reaping is reserved for the planter. If we stay in our houses in this lockdown, we are only going to starve. Because now the truck drivers are bringing the COVID. Uhuru and Magufuli are shutting down borders. Tomorrow, let's say Museveni also shuts down the border. Now there's no food completely coming in. So now it's survival for the fittest. Survival for those that have food. Your lazy self that didn't plant food is going to be left with one option: to become a thief, start stealing food. And now violence and chaos is going to erupt. And this is the chaos that I've been warning you about. Because no one is going to sit there without food while someone has food. And this is the problem with capitalism, making you think that you as an individual can be great while others are left behind. Africa has gone so far because we went together. Ubuntu. We were one family. We were brothers and sisters. We are the one race, the only race on earth that calls themselves brothers and sisters, because we genuinely, truly come from one family. And we've always known it, even if we're distant, speaking different languages, Tower of Babel. But we knew that we could reverse the Tower of Babel and become one Africa. That's why we have chosen Swahili to be the African language of the future. It's artificial, but it's not owned by anybody. And so we can use it to try to create that unity that can help us build our way back to heaven. It's all about the individual. We are going into this chaos because the individual forgot their responsibilities. So we are not virtuous. And there's nothing as hurting or as harmful or as deadly as an individual without virtue. Because you become that, chaotic. You become a thief, you become a murderer, you become everything. You have no virtue. You have no responsibility. So don't think you're harmless by staying in the house. Don't think you're doing anybody favors by staying in the house in this lockdown. You're instead a perpetuator of chaos. You're part of the people that are denying themselves responsibility and looking for stupid rights, looking for unrealistic things like safety. Again, I tell you, we are not created to be safe. There is no safety out there. We are created to be strong. We need to get in there and deal with COVID as it comes. Deal with it. And the faster we open up and deal with it, the better. Right now, would be dealing with people who are dying and trying to save their lives, and maybe right now would have gotten to a point where now we are only saving people's lives. But you're there cowardizing in the houses, hiding. You're not coming out. You've been scared. You now even don't have food. Now you're starving. Now COVID is going to find you starved. You're in the houses, so you're not getting sunlight. It's going to find you unhealthy. You're social distancing, so you're not talking to friends. It's going to find you in a very bad situation. And you'll just die. You will not have gas. You will not have the energy. The time when you have the energy to face the virus, when you have the strongest immunity, you're hiding in the houses, losing more and more immunity. We need to get out there, Africa. We need to get out there and fight like warriors, like a true African. We need to be sovereign individuals with virtue and responsibility, with duty. We don't care about fucking rights. We care about responsibility. The rights will find us on the way. Nobody will come and give you a hard time over your garden. Nobody can tell you shit over your land. Because you deserve the land. The only time they tell you shit over the land is if you don't deserve the land. Nobody can force us into slavery in the New World Order if we deserve to be respected as sovereign, if we have our own. But if we keep accepting this aid that is buying us out, this, We have become so corrupt that they are buying us out and we can't even see it. I don't know why our leaders continue to accept this stupid aid and keeping it in funny things like classified funds. Like, start building gardens with that money right now. Start building the ark very quickly. But don't think the ark is for you and your family. I don't think Africa is going to watch. I told you, when the Hunger Games begin, the first people that are coming for is you, the leaders. People are not going to die while you're there, in your houses covered. And there's no army that will protect you, because guess who owns the army? The army comes from the families of the people. And also, this is a wake-up call for East Africa to get back to the Mchaka Mchaka days. We need to all be in the army, because that's the easiest way to be responsible. That's why they have guns, because they are the responsible people. They have given their life to serve. What do you have to offer? What do you put on the table? Nothing. So what can you do to cure the COVID? Or the better question is, what can you do to earn the cure to COVID? I know hiding in the house has never gotten us any cures for any disease. Even Ebola, we faced Ebola. And Ebola is worse than COVID. Way worse than COVID. We know Ebola. You simply shake hands, in 6 hours, you're bleeding to death. For us, we know it. If we could face Ebola, then you think the flu is going to take us out, all of us. It's nothing. You might even find we're immune to this funny thing. Yeah? Except for those few. Yeah? Very few cases. In fact, the statistics, the numbers are out. The data is out. This thing is going to kill just very few people. And there's medicine. Some medicine is working here and there. We've had some cures. We've had some people get back home. There's no need for a vaccine. We can cure this. We just need to know the pills to pop. That's it. There's no need to panic. We need to know what concoction to drink, what mushrooms to grind down, mango tree leaves. Add some turmeric, add some, take some fruits, vitamin C, the sun, and you're okay. And we in the houses, we're starving to death like domestic animals. Useless completely, we can't even think. We've been denied our responsibilities. No, this can't continue. This can't continue. It's something I said in the Kenrald book, that when the student is ready, the teacher shall appear. That if you keep knocking the door, doors shall open. That if you ask, you will be given the answer. Africa, are you asking? Are you even listening out for the answer? Will you know the answer once it's given to you? Will you know the answer? To deserve rights, you must be responsible. Once you're responsible, you're virtuous. Because you're a monster, brave, that can face the evil, but chooses not to be monstrous. So you're meek. You're dangerous, but you're controlled. You have self-control, you're controlled. That's how you're virtuous. You're not virtuous by being harmless. Because if you're harmless, you're a rabbit, just waiting to be eaten. You're a domestic animal, just being locked down and allowed to graze in the morning and then locked down in the evening, waiting to be eaten. You're virtuous because you're wild, but contained. And that's what stops you from being, again, an animal. You're dangerous, but you're controlled. The things you can learn from dogs. No animal eats better meals than dogs. Because dogs are dangerous, but they know how to contain that danger and come close to human beings and even eat from the same plate as the smartest species on earth. How can you eat from the same plate as the smartest people on earth? How can you be accepted into the New World Order? By being virtuous. You get that virtuousness from being responsible, from having duty, and for insisting on duty. And because you're responsible and dutiful, then you get to live. You get the rights to life. I hope this helps to solve the problem of truck drivers and the problem of the lockdown that is really shattering East Africa with every single second that we stay in this COVID crisis. It's your responsibility as an individual to first of all be self-reliant and to look for the cure for COVID. That's your responsibility. And you're sovereign by being monstrous, getting out of the house and hunting down this COVID. And being a soldier. Some people will die, yes. But that's the thing. We give our lives to protect our responsibilities. That's how you make a sovereign man. We need to make these Westerners look at us, these Europeans look at us and say, wow, these Africans are brave. By getting out there and facing the enemy. And protecting, watching. We know AIDS was brought through vaccines. We don't know what else has been brought through vaccines. So we need to watch, investigate all these funny aid coming in. You need to test that aid. You need to test it. Are you even testing it, or just, taking up everything they are giving you like stupid beggars? Test that aid. Make sure it's safe. Because we're out there fighting a disease. So we test every single thing. And we can do it on our own. Africa, we are not babies. We need to take responsibility. We need to be sovereign individuals. That's how we will be deserving of respect and rights in the new world. You can't be babies sitting home waiting for Europe all the time. Wake up. This is the time to wake up. At least for our generation, the young people, wake up with me. Wake up. If those old people are sold out, if they are full of emptiness, they can never see the light, let their crop go. And it's going. But for us, we have to wake up and do the right thing. Thank you guys for joining me on this episode. I just woke up and I just thought I would talk to you because I've been thinking about this all night and, wouldn't get to work without addressing this. If you haven't subscribed to the Kenrald Experience, please subscribe. Engage with us in the commentary. And let's see the topics you want us to talk about and what you think about the things that I talk about. Also like the video. If you like the video, hit that like button. Be blessed, be safe, get out there and do the right thing. It all starts at the individual level. Thanks, guys.